housekeeping before we start. Of course, most of you are not strangers to the P&Z, so you already know what I'm about to say. The Planning Commission is a recommending body only. Our decisions will be sent to City Council for final approval with the exception of site plans and plats, which our decisions are final on those. So this morning, I think pretty much everything for the most part, is going to be public hearings. So we're going to give you the opportunity to come. I need you to state your name and your address for the record. We'll ask those who are in favor and who oppose to give you the opportunity to speak. Before we get into our public hearings, we need to go ahead and approve the minutes from our January 12th meeting. Any errors, omissions, additions, deletions?
So I'll move to approve.
Have a motion to approve?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries. All right, let's go to item 5, which will be public hearing. Mr. Medina.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is item 5A. Receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a replat of lots 23 and 24, block 26 of the Sunnyside Edition. It's on the northwest corner of South Scullin Avenue and Collins Street. Case number 2020-128RP. The applicant is requesting approval to replat and reconfigure 2 lots into 3. The proposed replat meets all City of Denison requirements, and a sewer extension is required to service the new lots. The applicant is working with Public Works on ensuring that will take place. So once the sewer has been installed, pending final approval of this plat, we can go ahead and get that filed for them. Here's the subject property here. West Collins runs east to west, and South Scullin runs north to south. It's 2 lots. Again, here are the 2 lots. Here's the zoning. It's zoned single family 5. Oh, whoa. And this is how they propose to reconfigure it. So they're taking 2 lots, turning them into 3, putting them along South Scullin, running north to south. So I'm present for any questions that you may have, and city staff does recommend approval.
Anyone here speak in favor? Or anybody got any questions for Bill? Anyone here speak in favor of this request? Anyone here speak in opposition to this request? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the proposed replat pending final civil engineering approval and installation of the required city utility services.
Second.
Have a motion with a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 5B.
So item 5B, receive a report, hold a discussion, conduct a public hearing, and make a recommendation on a request to change the zoning of the subject property from local retail to single family 5 at 305 East Hull Street. Case number 2020-131Z. So as mentioned, the applicant's requesting to rezone the lot from local retail to SF5. The 2018 comprehensive plan shows this area to be developed as a neighborhood. This is the subject property here. You have South Crockett running north to south, in between Munson running east to west, and then of course Hull Street running east to west. Now this pocket of Denison is primarily built out in a residential manner. Like I said, our comp plan shows it to be residential. However, there are some local retail lots adjacent to this area that should be residential. So we're recommending approval of the rezone. Here's a survey of the subject property. Based on the survey in your packet, it's already been platted with a lot and block description. So the applicant wouldn't need to plat or do anything else. We just need to get this zoning cleaned up so that way they can move forward with constructing a new infill home. So we recommend approval of the zoning, and Mr. Earnhardt is here as well to answer any other questions.
Okay. Any questions of staff? Thanks, sir.
Do you have any questions for me?
Not putting stuff. Anyone else here speak in favor? Anyone here speak in opposition? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, entertain a motion.
I
Move to recommend approval, changing the zoning of the subject property from local retail to single-family 5 zoning district.
I second. Motion with a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 5C.
Item 5C, receive a report, hold a discussion, conduct a public hearing, and take action on a preliminary plat of 2.7 acres, more or less, located along Kathy Drive, Denison, Texas. This is case number 2020-139PP. So the applicant is pursuing the redevelopment of a 9-lot subdivision on the subject property. The proposed preliminary plat meets the zoning requirements. The applicant will also be submitting civil engineering plans to provide adequate public utilities. As with the other item, there's a lack of sewer along the frontage of this property. So this is the outline of the property in yellow. Kathy's running east to west at the intersection of Shane Court, where Kathy then goes north. If you recall, this property was recently annexed in zone earlier this month to single-family 5. Here's the proposed plat, which complies with the single-family 5 zoning district. You do have sewer on the south side of Shane Court, so as mentioned, the applicant will be providing engineering plans and installing the lines encompassing the total width of this property before the plat can be filed, pending final approval. So while city staff does try to discourage flag lots, we also understand that the developer is wanting to maximize the number of lots they can get off this piece of property. And because of the corner shape of this Kathy Drive turning, the only way that they can really use lot 9 back there would be to add a driveway wide enough for a fire truck, which would be 24 foot, to access that rear lot instead of having extremely long lots. So in this case, the building width is actually measured, the lot width is measured at the building line. So technically that would meet the SF5 width. So the applicant is here as well, and city staff does recommend approval.
Questions?
Was that never mind. I was gonna say, where's the access I see on the very west end of the property?
I guess the only segment of the property I'd be a little bit concerned about, because it's on a curve there, is the lot, I guess it's lot 4. If you don't have alley access, it's kind of a pie shape, and I'm a little familiar with what happens when you have a pie shape. I just wonder how he's gonna handle that one.
Right.
I'm happy to field some questions.
So, yeah, that's.
Hang on one second. I mean, these are SF5 lots, so the houses can be pretty much narrow in the 30 to 40 foot wide houses. And the depth is probably not that much, so I think that
You think that's plenty of space?
they'll make it fit on there, yeah. It's 104 feet. Let's see, here.
Front part.
Plus or to the street. 100 foot plus, point to point, so.
That's what your setback on?
Yeah. That's twice. The setbacks in there, are they gonna be 25 or 20, Bill?
25.
25, okay. So, and on SF5, you got a 5-foot setback on each side, so we shouldn't have any issue with it fitting in there. House, I think, would be comfortable, even if it fit in there.
Yeah, it's a concern because of as it gets
Yeah.
narrow at the back of the lot, you're not gonna be able to, whatever house you put on there, it's gonna have to accommodate that.
Mhm.
So we do already have that lot sold for a custom home that will fit on that lot. It's already under contract, so I don't think we.
You gonna have a triangular house?
Well, no, that's not why we don't No, we left it 100 feet because it's a house that would fit on a 50-foot lot. So by the time basically, all of those lots on the right edge of the property are gonna be smaller single families. And then these larger lots.
Hey, Jesse,
Yeah.
would you come up to the lectern and give us your name and address for the record since we're communicating here?
Jesse Sims, 708 West Main. And so what I was explaining, I believe it's lot 5, 6, 7, actually 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are all going to be smaller, 12, 1,300 square foot homes. All those are under contract to be built. The larger 1, 2, and 3 in the flag lot are also under contract, but for larger homes that fit more of the Shane Court addition that you see down to the right. So the south-facing lots are facing a ranch and that higher-end home addition, and then the smaller lots, 5 through 8, are facing some smaller manufactured homes across the street. So we have a specific intent for those lots, including that pie-shaped lot, to be smaller. Yeah. So we won't have any issues, which is why we left the width at 100 plus, because with our setback, we're still going to have plenty of room to fit that house in with plenty of backyard as well.
And there won't be any garages, is that correct?
Not on those on that side. That's correct.
I think it's required to have a garage.
No, it's an SF5.
Yeah. Should be I think we're good SF5 with no garage. The only other, I would say, concern on our end is we have a contract. So in the past, when the city's doing utilities, we would do a developer agreement, pay for all the utilities up front, then we could go ahead and file the plat so we could proceed forward with closing out the properties. We're in the same situation here, other than we're having to use a contractor directly to do the sewer. So our goal is to do a developer agreement with him, pay up front, but hopefully be able to file the plat before that's in. That's going to set us back months if we have to wait to get that line in, when we already have contracts with builders to get these things moving. So that would be the only exception we would ask for at this time, is to be able to move forward on the filing of the plat with a developer agreement in place for utilities and those paid in full up front with the utilities. So I'm here for any other questions if you have some for me. Everybody good? All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'm assuming that what we'll do is the recommendation will be to approve the plat subject to the development process being completed. Is that?
Yeah, I think, yes, Mr. Chair. 1 second, let me. Yes, it's pending final engineering plan approval and installation of adequate public utility services.
Okay, so what the applicant is talking about doing is we would file the plat based on a contract from the contractors that is gonna do the infrastructure. Are we in a position to do that?
I'd feel comfortable discussing with Public Works, since they're the ones that would control the utilities. The last thing we want to do is file a plat without there being adequate infrastructure utilities, and then we have angry residents that, I bought this lot.
Please don't do that again.
Yeah, we're not doing that. So we've learned from our mistakes. So that's why that language is written that way. Now, if we get approval from Public Works and says, yeah, Bill, we're moving forward, we know it's going to be accomplished by this time, then yeah, we can.
That's what I said. If they've got a contract, this contract's gonna give specific dates of completion and all that, so,
Yeah.
we're comfortable going ahead and filing the plat based on that.
Yeah, if I had Public Works' backing on that to make sure that was going to be adequate for them. The other thing I wanted to point out before I move on was in our residential infill district, the SF5 zoning is where a parking garage isn't required. Currently, there's a parking requirement in the SF5 code that says single family, this is 28.24D, single family dwelling units, new construction, minimum of 2 paved parking spaces shall be required. Minimum of 1 space shall be covered parking, garage, or carport, and 1 additional space may be open parking. So there is a garage or carport requirement.
Required if it's an infill,
Yeah, garages are not required in the infill.
so they have to do either a single car garage or carport.
Yes. 1 space shall be covered parking, garage, or carport, and 1 additional space may be open parking.
And that's fine, that can all be done when we submit plans for the homes. I don't think it should affect the replat.
Yeah, correct. That wouldn't affect this in any way. It was just whenever, like you said, whenever you submit your plans, we'll be looking at that too. This wouldn't qualify variance because you would be creating the hardship by platting the property in this way that wouldn't fit a garage.
But it's doable.
You could fit it, yeah, if for some reason the property was broken up in a way in which you couldn't fit your house in the garage, then a variance could be an option, but in this case, there's adequate room because you meet the code.
Well, I mean, we've been doing carports and Jonathan's been doing single car garages in the infield, so same scenario.
It's not a problem.
It's doable. All right, any other questions? Anybody else here to speak either for or against this particular case? Okay, seeing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move to approve the proposed plat pending final engineering plan approval and installation of adequate public utility services.
Second. Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. Item 5D.
Morning again. This is item 5D, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a proposed minor plat located at 1910 West Washington Street. So the property is currently zoned single-family 7.5. The applicant is requesting to initially plat this property. The applicant's also seeking a variance to the lot size, particularly to the depth and total size. The Zoning Board of Adjustments and Appeals recently granted variances to the proposed residential structure. So here's an aerial of the property from approximately 2018. As you can see, it's in a regular shape in what looks to be carved out of, or is a remaining tract from the property directly to the south. Well, the south would be up on the screen here. Since then, the property has been demolished. Again, this is 1910 West Washington. You have West Washington running east to west and Juanita running north to south. Here's the subject property prior to being demolished. The ZBA went ahead and granted a variance for the garage, the parking requirements, the size requirement, as well as a setback requirement. So normally we would try to work with the developer and see if we can find a way where they can pick up additional property around them to make sure that the lot would meet the requirements. So in your packet, I have the proposed plat. So if this was a regular plat that was coming through our doors for the first time, we would verify that it was at least 100 feet deep, 120 feet deep, and meet 7,500 square feet. But because the plat or the lot kind of exists in its current configuration, or the parcel, I guess, it was never technically platted, there's no way for the applicant to obtain additional property to make it a conforming lot. However, we think that there's still adequate room for it to be built on. There is adequate infrastructure. So as you can see, there was a house there built previously, it was just never platted. So staff does recommend approval of this plat with the variances outlined in the staff report. Again, that's the total square footage and the depth. And the applicant is here to speak as well, Mr. Earnhardt.
Are we gonna, what setbacks are you gonna enforce on this?
So ZBA approved a 20-foot setback.
What about sides?
It would still maintain 5 foot. That's per building code.
What was the original zone?
7.5. So the previous structure was non-conforming with the 7.5 district.
What I'm asking though, is it not still 7.5?
It is.
Well, then that would be a 10% setback on the side, wouldn't it?
Yeah, this is correct. I'm sorry, no more than 8 feet, so, or 6 feet. Hang on, I got it right here.
And there's a 15-foot right-of-way dedication.
Yes, sir.
So basically, we've got a 60-foot depth.
Yes, that is 10% of the width on the sides, but not to exceed 8 feet. So if this is a 80-foot lot, you'd have 8 feet on either sides.
Okay, so, well, I'll ask you. Any other questions of Bill?
Just one, the house that's behind it is considerably larger, and my understanding is that house owns the property to the side, is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The house at
1915 Collier.
1915 Collier Drive,
Mm-hmm.
they own the piece of property that is just to the east of that property. In other words, they still will, they have that space to use as a backyard, sort of.
Yes, on Collier, that property, the one with the gray roof, yeah, that whole piece, that L shape, that corner piece, that's all one,
L-shaped piece.
yeah, that's all one contiguous piece.
It's kind of odd.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you, Bill.
Jonathan Earnhardt, Denison, Texas. So what that was is, it's not like something we're taking out of some land that was already existent. At some point, someone plowed it or sold off a partial, didn't follow what we meet in today's standards of doing that. There was a house built there, this was probably 50-plus years ago, had the house tore down, and then we're putting a super small house there. It's only a 950-square-foot house for a 19-year-old girl. She's already got funding, purchased the lot, and we've already done anything before we caught that this wasn't even technically a lot per se. As you can tell, the Washington Street there for this block, I grew up on Washington Street just a few blocks away, is only a very narrow street. It's a dead-end street. It dead ends to a bunch. They're all tiny houses around on that street itself, except for the ones that face, of course, Collier Drive and Juanita. So it really fits the area. None of those have garage or larger sizes houses. But we definitely on the site plan have room to put the house in there with the setbacks and everything. And we submitted that and got that approved first before we even figured out that this wasn't a lot per se. Y'all have any questions on that?
Okay, so ZBA reduced the front setback, reduced the square footage, and did they eliminate the two-car garage requirement?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That was last week.
Okay. All right.
So with that, it fits.
So with that, it'll fit, yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan, all right, when you place the house on the lot, are you gonna be a little bit more, let's see, does Washington run east and west?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna be a little bit more to the west?
We're going as far west as we actually can. It actually leaves her a lot of room on one side that she's using like a backyard. It's that side type thing. And that's why she didn't want a garage. She wanted that little patio looking yard. So her house is designed to face that corner and be open up to her yard that way.
Because my concern is the corner of the lot is not too far from the corner of that house. Right there. So if we push it more to the west, that'll separate the two houses more, for privacy purposes, I think.
And it probably looks worse than it is. You can see the tree lines there. We're even able to leave those trees that are there, especially on that west side. So it's not as bad as it looks. In here it looks like, I didn't even realize it was like their backyard you were buying.
This one next to it, you can see like where it is versus the back of it versus the part that builds up. Like it's still got.
Okay. All right, any other questions of the speaker? Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of this request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this request? Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the proposed plat as presented.
I second.
Motion is second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. Item 6
Thank you. So this is our last item for the day. As our new director did last time, we just wanted to include in the packet the results from city council from the items that you guys or this commission has went ahead and approved and moved forward to city council. As you can see, everything was approved. We had a pretty busy agenda with plenty of annexations and rezonings or initial zonings, so it's all good stuff. If you have any questions about those items or how they were completed, let me know.
Any questions?
I'm just glad you got George busy again.
Anything on that, guys? Y'all good with it? Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, seeing no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion with a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned at 10:27 a.m. Thank y'all for being here.
Good job, Charlie.
Huh? I don't even know if mine was on or not. I guess it was. That was on. Let's go. Man, you know, I told Shonda I'll build her a house, but don't ask me to do a damn thing when it comes to moving. I'm out.
George has been so good. He's done just about all of the boxing up of the china.
Well, tell him I said he wins husband of the year. And I'll be glad to give it to him.